All right, let's take a quick look at Assault Squad's different basic roles in the game that the soldiers have. I would say there's, I don't know, 15, 16 different roles that generally are used in the game. There's a lot more specialized equipment, but as far as roles for the soldiers, this is a good idea of what's what for your basics. So let's start with the right here with our commander. So if we go here, the right side going. So we select him and we see that he's got his inventory here. And what makes the officer interesting is that if I turn on the Alt F and we go turn on the Fog of War, his binoculars, which he has in his hands right now, but oh, he just put them back in his pocket. But if I double click on his binoculars here and go into direct control, and let's try it again. Okay, let's go in direct control. If I zoom up and tilt the map, you can see that he has this binocular range that he can scout around that disc that's moving around. He's got huge range to spot the enemy. So if he has artillery crew behind him on our side, and if he spots anything within shouting range to his crew, they will automatically open fire if they're set to open fire on whatever he spots out here in the distance. So very handy. Your commander, your officer can spot the enemy and give orders to your crew. Another thing he can do, if we double click onto his knife, he's one of those soldiers that has a knife, and if you go in direct control, you see that he has a knife throwing range of about 24 game units. And if I hold it still in direct control mode, and if I left click, hold down, and then lift up on my clicking or click, and keep the cursor there, he has a good chance of doing a stealth kill on an enemy. So if you want to find where your knife is to go pick it up, you can hold down your C key and you can see in the distance there, it's so far away, but I can have him go pick it up. So I'm not going to bother with him picking it up. I got one more thing to show. If I double click, he also has reinforcements or supplies he can call in. If I go into direct control, he can throw his little signal grenade, and when he throws it, it will signal to the air crews from home base that they need to drop some supplies. So they'll fly over shortly, drop some supplies, and if you look inside, you'll see extra ammunition or whatever's needed. And the crews can also rearm as they go inside that circle. If they're out of weapon ammunition, they'll be rearmed automatically. So they've got different mines and equipment and sandbags in there, so that's how that works. Number two, we click on our general rifleman here. He's just a grunt in the army, but he has a rifle. If I go in direct control, his rifle range is a decent range. If we go up here, we can see his rifle range is, looks like it's about 100 game units. Yeah, 99. And he can fire a certain amount of rounds off, semi-auto, and then he reloads his clip. And he has some sandbags, so if you go to the sandbag fast key, right click, hold down, and drag, wherever you click and hold down and drag in whatever direction, he will make sandbags. So let's get him doing that. So he's a good all-around grunt in the army. He's got decent to good range on his rifle. Good killing power at range. Next dude. He's got a rifle also, but he has a grenade launching rifle with different types of grenades. So if you can switch his rifle out by double clicking on, now he's got his normal rifle, double click, he's got his grenade launching rifle. And he's got a grenade. You pick a grenade that you want him to use, Willie Pete or a regular frag. Let's go with a frag grenade. So you'll load that in. Takes a bit of time. Then you go into direct control, and you can see that he's got a decent range on his weapon for tossing a grenade over a hill or a valley or a house or some trees. He can fire over the house and twice as far as they can throw a grenade, or perhaps longer, maybe 3 times as far as a hand grenade. So if you go to the next soldier here, or let's go with a hand grenade guy here. He's got a hand grenade, the rifleman. Go in direct control, and if you left click, he'll switch to a grenade. And you can see a grenade, they can only throw it about 23.5 meters. So that rifle grenade is going to get you a lot more distance and high over obstacles. All right. So the next soldier, as we were doing, is the mine detector dude. Have him come up, and he will find enemy mines. They will show up as little flags, and they will be deactivated as he finds them. So as long as this mine detector's in his hand, or you can put his rifle back in his hand if you double click on it. And he has an engineer shovel with him, so I'll double click on this inventory, get that in his hand. And if you go to the extras little icons here, you can have, if you click on these buttons, you'll get a shovel digging icon. And if you right click and drag, he will dig a small foxhole trench in whatever direction you click and drag on. So he'll start building that. Next soldier is a machine gunner, and obviously he's got super great range. So his machine gun is actually longer than the rifle at about 120 game units. And he will fire, and you can have him reload manually with the space bar if he doesn't do it automatically. Now, one of his great traits and roles in the squad is suppression. So if he takes a knee here, and you need to get away, and the rest of the squad needs time to get away or suppress the enemy, his role would be to just spray bullets towards the enemy and suppress them, so that your troops can do what they need to do. So let's get this guy inside. If I just click in here, oh, you can't, because the game has to save this file, and then that trench will fully dig out. But all right. So, but the suppression roll. So if you click attack ground with a dude, well, any soldier with weapons will suppress, but machine gunners are especially good at it. So hit F6, and then left click anywhere within his range, and he should start suppressing. So if there's enemy over there in the hills, he'll just start shooting in that direction. So if I left click and tap on the ground, he will continue firing till out of bullets, and he'll reload, and he'll even continue firing after he reloads. So he's in suppression mode right now. I'm not sure why he quit, but generally they just keep firing over and over. Let's try it again. Not sure why he's not suppressing. I've tested this before. Let's see. You should reload and keep suppressing unless there's some kind of glitch going on there. There you go. Maybe it was too far away for suppression, because the first time I was up here. Let's just test that right now. I wonder if it was because I had him suppressing too far up here. So that may be something I found out too right now. So let's go. He's reloaded. He's got a full clip. Go F6. And if I have him suppress way out here with a left mouse click, he doesn't even do it. Let's see again. Click. Let's see if he does it. Okay, he's reloading. And no. Oh, two shots. So I guess not sure how the game actually why it didn't do that, but I guess it depends how you click. Anyway, it's a left click, and generally they do suppress. And if you were to grab all of these guys and hit attack ground, just make sure you your reticule is on the ground, because they need a ground attack target. So they need you to point to the ground and left click. One guy's jammed, and generally they suppress. They all keep suppressing with all their weapons, their primary weapons. So, okay. So that works pretty good. All right, on to the next dude. And we have a medic here. The medic, he's got morphine, and he can go and heal dudes on the battlefield. And just remember, not to get your medic killed. Generally, you don't just, because I would click on a injured soldier or a dead soldier, depending how you have your scenario set up, and he would go heal him. But you don't want to just click on him to go straight to where he's needed. He might get his head blown off on the way there, not paying any attention to where he's going. You want to make sure he has a safe route, so hold down the shift key and give him specific movement orders to where he's supposed to go. And if you double click, he should run on that specific path. So you can, give him cover behind hills, trees to get to his target. Next dude, interesting. We have a flamethrower dude. Direct control, he will shoot his flames, and he will use up, and he's got decent range, and if you flick it up, you can get a little bit further range, but he's out of fuel right now. So, but when he's got the fuel gun loaded in his hand, he can still almost run. He can run. But he needs to reload right now. And if I was to see a truck or a car or a gas barrel or can, anything with fuel in it, I could have him go run over to it and refuel up. But before he can refuel up, you have to switch him to his canisters. You have to switch from the weapon to the cans. But make sure he can only walk when he's got the cans in his hand. So if he's got to go a long way in the battlefield to go to refuel, make sure you keep his nozzle in his hand, go over to the car or a vehicle which has some gas, then switch to his cans. He's right next to the vehicle, and then if you you'll have an icon when he's got the cans in his hand, empty cans. Anything with fuel in it will give you an icon to refuel. So just make sure when he's running, make sure you put his nozzle in his hand if you want him to run. Next dude is the anti-tank rifle. Direct control, long range, multiple shots, can disable small armed targets. Advantage over a bazooka is he has a 5-shot clip, so he can take 5 shots at the target, try to break its tread or blow out its tires or hit the engine. And so small vehicles, they can disable them. And he's got long range, and he can take 5 shots before he needs to reload. And so that's the upside on this guy. Now a bazooka, which is coming up, we'll get to him. He's got shorter range, and he only has 1 shot at a time. So, but a bazooka can take out large vehicles, heavily armored vehicles, if the deflection and if he has a good angle, and if he's fairly close, he can take out large, heavily armed equipment. Next guy is a submachine dude, submachine gunner, SMG. Direct control, large clip, large amount of killing power up close in your face. You can have him use the shift key, tell him to go around, shift click, have him go around a house, urban warfare, and have him do his damage. So very good inside buildings, around buildings. He can fire around the corner of a building really well, and I'll show how to do that in direct control really well, while protecting yourself. That's a future video. Next dude is Marksman. He has a scoped rifle. If I go in direct control, you can see that generally he has a large distance, 140 game units range, and generally they can spot enemies from quite a long distance. They're good for spotting and killing at long range, obviously. Again, if I go in direct control, you see the reticule turns orange, and as he moves, whenever he stops and he focuses in on a target, that reticule takes time to fill up and focus in, as it's doing now. Focuses, move to the next target, reloads, focuses, and fire. So that's how you can take the shot before, but it's going to be less accurate. If you wait for it to focus down, that's your maximum potential to kill. All right. Next guy is a shotgun. And now the shotgun soldier is also good in urban warfare, maybe even better than the SMG. One shot, one kill to the face, to the body. Really good around buildings, corners, inside towns, that type of thing. Bazooka soldier. Direct control. Not as good range as the AT rifle, but as I said earlier, he's got a standard rifle. If you double click, he goes into his bazooka mode, less range, but lethal killing power within his range. Takes a while to reload. You can only do one shot at a time, but not too bad. And that's his claim to fame, killing heavy equipment. Get him up close, sneak him around, turn his fire to hold off until he's, turn off his automatic firing mode, and direct control him all the way, sneak him in, and fire close to your target. Next dude is a tank crewman. He can be a loader, he can be a driver, he can be a commander of a tank, and he can fix a tank and service a tank for fuel and whatnot. So, and the more experienced tank crew get, the better they are at maintaining and using their tanks. Next guy, support crew. Kind of similar to a tank crew, but they're good. They can drive equipment, vehicles. They can man a mortar tube. They can man a artillery piece, field guns. General all-around vehicle support. He has a weapon and a helmet and some bandages. Next guy is a radio operator. There are different types in the game, but generally they call in a radio strike on a position on the ground from out of sight or off the map. That could be artillery crew, that could be mortars, it could be a ship firing from a long distance. So to give them the information and the coordinates, you double click on his little handgun, and you go in direct control, and depending on the type he is, he will call in a strike. And this guy has a long range. You wait for his reticule to fill in within range. Make sure it's pointed at the ground, because he needs to give him ground coordinates. Don't point it on a house or some trees or a big rock. Make sure it's a point on the ground. And when it's full in, he can fire his signal flare. And there's going to be a long barrage here, and you'll hear it coming from off the map, and it'll run for several rounds of fire from artillery. There'll be a second and third wave. And one more. All right, very powerful, long range, precise, well, fairly precise depending on say if there was a big enemy position there. Lots of damage. So you want to know how to use your radio operator, how to get them in and out and be effective. Next dude is the anti-personnel land mine layer. So this guy, in his inventory, you see all these anti-personnel little pop-up mines or whatever type they are, but they take out other soldiers. So you want to click on the little button here, or sometimes it's hidden in here as a secondary button. And what it does is, if you hold down Shift, your left mouse button, you can decide where he's going to plant those mines. So same thing with the AT mine layer. They will lay as many mines that they have in their inventory. You can do it precisely like I did here, or if you want to lay them all in a big field, a precise field, you just don't hold down Shift and he'll start laying them. You just drag out and lay out. We'll get more into that later, but his role is to plant mines. Now the next dude is the same type of dude, but he has tank mines. So he's got 7 of them. So where he's positioned, if I don't hold down the Shift key and I hit the mine key, if I just drag out using the right mouse button, it'll drag out in a bunch. So I drag out all in a bunch in whatever direction he is. And so if I had more than 7, if I had 50, he would do a whole field full as I drag out. So there are 2 ways to plant those mines. Specific places with the Shift key, one by one, or as a field full of mines by just clicking and dragging in a direction. All right, so there you have it. Quite a wide variety of capabilities in your squads. Huge amount of potential for different strategy in your games. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll make some more. Thanks.